When we're playing a song, we get to make choices about how we play the chord progression. Today we're going to look at how to make some of the chords a little bit fancy through understanding the power of intervals. Hey, I'm Eric Haugen. Check the description box below for tabs and backing tracks on my website, information about exactly what sound tools I'm using today, live streams and more on Patreon, and my deep dive courses. It's all on my website. If we know our intervals, we don't need to memorize chords from chord books. We can know what we're doing when we're doing it and feel it. All right, so here we go, interval training. Here's a G bar chord. Classic. Okay, here is a G major scale. Let's do the second octave. And here are the intervals for that scale. Let's look at again. Root, major second, major third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major sixth, major seven, root. And then they start again. Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, major seven. Very dramatic tone. And then the root again. Each one of those notes means so much in reference to that pitch. So the exercise I've talked about in my True Fire courses, Next Level Rhythm, and the Modes one. Also, whenever I teach this, I say to do this. You keep a groove for one bar, and then you aim for a specific interval, hit it 3 times, and then resolve it. I should point out down below, I do have my foot going, and that's kind of, we talked about this last week, that's like a Bo Diddley variant rhythm. Really listening to see what each of those intervals does, like the 6 up top. And that's different than that major 7. Different than the 4. It's such important stuff. It's like, it's such cool stuff, not just academically to be like, oh, I know what the intervals are, but for me, it's emotionally. These mean things. What a sus chord is, which is very useful, is if you took that regular old triad, root 3, 5, and that third, which is, the note that decides whether or not it's a happy chord or a sad chord, you could either move it up 1 to be a sus 4, or you could move it down 1 to be a sus 2. It makes the chord kind of ambivalent and kind of floaty. In a regular old song, you can always make a major chord into a sus 2. That note's always in key, be it on the 1 chord, the 4 chord, or the 5 chord. Sure, it's going to be very airy, but it's not wrong. see any Police song for evidence of this. I love Andy Summers, you know that about me. Now, the exercise I say to do to incorporate new chords in such a way that you'll actually remember them, you groove for 1 bar doing the regular version of the chord, and then groove for 1 bar introducing your brain to the new chord. And let's pick a groove. We're going to do rock ballad. Let's do a small one. Now, that's that chord there. Of course, if you want to go further, there's 5 ways everything appears. The cage system, down to G in the open position. Let's see, there's the 2. Again, G. And Notice I didn't leave that note in because that's the third. Up to this one. Your next G is all the way up here. sus2. Next G is up here. And the last one, let's make it a little bit smaller. And in fact, it could be just that triad. But you know what? Let's just make that G open. You know what though? I could do the same thing doing sus4, G in the open. sus4. Notice, yeah, I do my G either like that. And I hate this note, so I just leave it out. A lot of guitar players leave that note out. sus4. It's like opposite of Pinball Wizard, G over here. G over here. G over here. Oh, cool. Small. The other chord that you can always just turn a regular old major chord into is a 6 chord. That note is always available, that E. So same exercise. Let's see, there's a 6 there. 1 bar of grooving. Oh, you know what song does this? Linus and Lucy, you know, the Peanuts theme. I could do that over here. Could do it over here. You know, I'm not going to worry about this note. What if I just did this? This is really how I think. Oh, this is a fun one. Ooh, let's see if this is going to work. I might change the strum pattern to... let's change it to, you have mid-tempo rock. You could arpeggiate that, and that becomes a pattern I call Cool Ranch. I don't know why I call that Cool Ranch. All right. Let's do the last one droney style with phaser and delay. Yeah, there it is. Always try and make a song out of it. It makes it more fun to practice. Now we're going to get into the major 7, which you can use on the 1 chord. Or the 4 chord in a key, you know, this in the key of G. C is the 4 chord. Doesn't work on the 5 chord though. But again, that major 7, the most dramatic interval in the key. So it's actually very dissonant. Oof. But when you hide it inside a chord, it's really pretty. You know, oh, Benny and the Jets starts with a G major 7. By the way, notice I just did some hand blocking. Watch this technique again. To practice our major 7, let's have a little bit more fun. Let's bring in the 6 and the major 7 and the Cool Ranch strum pattern. So pretty. But okay, let's go up to the next position here. What'll happen here? I don't know. Let's find out by, again, making a little song out of it. What'll happen here? I don't know. I like that. Cool. And a little bit higher and drony. Let's see. Now here's the next little confusion. There's the Ad9 chord, and then there's the 9 chord. An Ad9 chord we're going to look at first means you got your G. 1, 3, 5 are still there. And we are adding the 9, aka the note that is really the 2. Don't get too bogged down with whether something is a 2 or the 9, because like it's a little bit interchangeable. The rule is if it's an octave past the root, then it's a 9. But a musician would know what you're talking about if you're like, it's a G chord with the 2 in there, or it's a G chord with the 9 in there. We'd all know, oh, you mean the A. Andy Summers. That chord, that iconic chord. Notice, by the way, it's those two. It's actually really hard to get it that way. It's that one. So there's that 9, the A. There's also the 3rd. Gotta play it. Of course, it's not in that key. It's up a step in A. The Andy Summers thing is a great example of an add 9 chord. Okay, same thing though. Let's add the 9 over here. Let's go back to rock ballad. We did that one there because you could have, although if you're strumming it. Can I get it here? I don't think I can get the 3rd and the 9 here. Nope, there's no way. Turns into a sus2. Can I get the add 9 here? Oh, brutal. I could, let's see, there's the 3rd. There's the 9. Oh, I don't think, no, there's not a way to get that. Nah, that's too hard to get to. By comparison, a 9th chord means you'd have your G. You would have had your G major 7. It's like, cool, you got 1, 3, 5, 7. And they're like, why don't you go ahead and throw the 9 in, also the next 3rd up. Which is not always playable to get a major 7, the 9, and a 3rd. Oh, I think I can right here. Ooh, I just discovered that chord now. Let's do like a slow arpeggiated pattern. Again, let's compare it to its pedestrian cousin. is pretty. This one shows up all the time. This is a standard jazz school voicing of a major. They would call this a major 9 chord because they're saying like, hey, get it? It's a major 7 and a major chord. And that shows up, in all the... Very bossa nova chord, that major 9. We didn't get to the 11 today because it just doesn't really show up very much on major chords until it becomes a sharp 11. Cool chord, but you can hear how decadent that chord is, how complex it is, and I want to like get a grasp on that. Like, hey, if you know your intervals and your cage shapes, you can make your own cool chords by actually knowing what you're doing. Because I can't remember chords from a chord book, but I can remember my shapes and then where the other notes are. So to review things you can do when playing a song, just groove it. That's always the priority. You don't have to get fancy at all. Sure, there's walks and fills, pentatonic double stop 6s, things like that can be cool also. Let's not forget, it's super cool, though, to turn a chord into a sus2 or turn a chord into a 6 chord or add a 9 or something like that. It's we have the power on this instrument because it's polyphonic to do stuff like that. And sometimes we forget to do that because we think, we're thinking more about skiddly diddly 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 rather than little things like that. They matter. They work. Thanks so much to everybody who supports me in all the ways that you do. With the like, subscribe, and share, that stuff helps a lot and it costs you nothing. That's why YouTubers are always saying to do that, because it's just the way the algorithm works. It'll recommend the video more to other people and generate more traffic that way. How my business works, one more time. Patreon is where we have backing tracks, charts, live Q&As and other stuff up there, and I make courses. I do have one called Next Level Rhythm, and yeah, this stuff is in that course as well. As Bill and Ted would say, be excellent to each other. That includes yourself. Happy Friday, eat pizza, party on, Wayne.